Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Lore of League of Legends. In this episode, we're going to be continuing on where we left off in Zaun, covering another of its famous scientists. I'm of course talking about Dr. Mundo, the Madman of Zaun. Enjoy. The city-state of Zaun had been built to support industry. Numerous factories and laboratories have filled the city-state since the earliest days of its existence. Ironically, industry has also become the great city's downfall. It wasn't completely destroyed, but had been ruined due to the constant pollution, explosions, and magical experiments across the city. It is suspended somewhere between a living city and a ruin that is surrounded by pools of toxic waste. This environment isn't a friendly one. In fact, it often causes many symptoms of illness that are undesirable. Young Mundo was a great example of this. Since the day he was born, the chemicals polluting the city have affected him and enhanced his will to inflict pain. When he was a young boy, he was relatively harmless. But as he grew up, his behaviour was getting worse with each passing year. When Mundo was barely 5 years old, he used to walk around his neighbourhood looking for stranded pets. He would then take them home and care for them, for a few minutes before becoming bored and deciding that performing some kind of pseudo-medical experiment on the animal would be much more fun. The number of dogs, cats, rats and other small animals had been rapidly decreasing throughout the city. About 9 years later, Mundo's parents had gone missing. Nobody had seen them, and they'd seemingly taken nothing with them and left no trace behind them. Even the family's dogs behaved as if they'd never left the house. It was a curious case, and the detectives in charge soon abandoned it due to the lack of evidence. Of course, there were whispers amongst people that it was Mundo who murdered his parents and hid their bodies. But he was just a teenage boy. How dangerous could he really be? Since his parents' disappearance, Mundo had been living alone in the family house, training to obtain a medical license. At least that's what he kept telling anyone who asked. Undisturbed by anyone, he could finally set his focus on some more complex experiments. When he grew up, he decided to legally acquire the medical license that he'd spoken of to people in the past. Mundo was now officially a doctor. Up to this point, however, he'd been charged with 38 counts of murder that he couldn't be convicted of due to lack of evidence, bodies, or any witnesses. Some had claimed to see Mundo at the crime scenes when spoken to, but soon enough had changed their minds not long after, or left Zaun in great haste. From a sadistic teenager, Mundo had turned into a combination of serial killer and mad scientist. That is assuming that cutting people open just for pleasure can be considered science, however. It's not a problem to Mundo. He's proud of the research he's performed and dismissed his critics, usually with a cleaver, or his own fists if there was no better weapon available. As time passed though, Mundo discovered more interesting facts about pain and the human response to it. He's made tremendous strides in mapping the pain response between the human brain and body. He's even gone so far as to use his findings to disable parts of his brain that were causing him to feel pain. He cut some nerves, stuck a few needles into his own brain, and soon after, was able to ignore pain completely, even in the most extreme of circumstances. Mundo has also found a way to reach into more primal wild side of his brain. Through chemical mixture, he could enhance aggression and the flow of adrenaline as well as dull the survival instinct. His research had a purpose now. Mundo wanted to create the perfect scientifically enhanced killer. He was not the first one to tackle that idea, but was certainly one of the more successful. The madman's reputation caught up with him, however, when he was looking for test subjects. He was known as a murderer, and nobody would be willing to enter his laboratory. Due to the lack of test subjects, he had no choice but to test his discoveries on himself. Over time, these tests have turned the old human-like Mundo into a true beast. His muscles have expanded, his skin turned purple, and even emotionally, has stopped caring about their useless parts of human culture, such as proper language. Mundo's reasons to join the League of Legends were simple. He wanted to see how well he would do against others. At first he was just a representative of Zaun, but later had formed a partnership with Noxus's representatives who admired the Madman's strength and ambition, which is the kind of partnership that is the most dangerous of all. And that's all I've got for you this time around. Don't forget to leave your likes and feedback down below, and don't forget to click the annotation at the top of the video to take you to the entire Lore of League of Legends playlist. Thanks for watching everyone, and as always, I'll see you next time.